And we are live. How about you, everybody? Welcome into the Auburn Live Recruiting Call-In Show. I'm your host, Jeffrey Lee, and I'm joined tonight by my two counterparts, who's always joining me, Mr. Jhead, Mr. Cole Pinkston. You guys know him as Mr. Jhead, Mr. Cole Pinkston. Pink, how the hell are you, big dog?
I'm doing good, man. I got back like with 2 minutes to spare. I've been on the road all day.
For those that don't know, Cole has been on I-85 a lot, I'm guessing.
Yes.
God bless you, son.
No doubt.
I can't do 85. Been in the Atlanta area checking in on some recruits. We'll get to that momentarily. First, let's get Jhead in here. How you doing, big dog?
I cannot complain, brother. We have had a lot of news here lately. Good recruiting intel. Maybe a quarterback was named, a depth chart released, an AD that may or may not no longer be employed. Lots to talk about, guys. Lots to talk about.
Oh, boy.
Yeah, this was all in the last week.
Yes.
For those of you who have been under a rock, Auburn has parted ways, I guess is the technical terms that we've been using, parted ways with Allen Green and named TJ Finley the starting quarterback. In the past week, have there been any commitments? Taquavius Story committed on Friday, four-star wide receiver. So, yes, a lot of news going on in the past week. I tell you what we're going to do, fellas. We're going to take our time and dissect all of that information more on Friday in the Auburn Live Recruiting Show. Tonight, we're going to make this more about the callers, the fans, the subscribers, and we're going to talk about the things that they want to talk about. Comments are welcome. Calls are welcomed, are preferred. I got a bullet in the head right there, hole in the head. See it? See that blue head? Hey, and if you're not a member of Auburn Live on 3, all of this information would have come to you first. You would have known. You would have went into work with all of this stuff before everybody else got to it. And it's still $1 for the next 2 days into the month, $1 for an entire year. If you don't have $1, sign up. Venmo, I'll Venmo you $1. It's practically free. So join us at Auburn Live on 3. And tonight we've got also little I gotta get this bullet out of my head.
There you go. Look at that.
Is that better? Now my arms are green. Okay. Cool. All right, we're going to get some calls. We're going to get some comments. We're going to get some questions on our YouTube page. And if you're not signed up on our YouTube page, please do. Get subscribed, like it. And I love this about it. You get notifications. Anytime a new video is uploaded, you get loaded to your phone. You don't miss anything. You stay ahead of the curve. Also, tonight, I want to welcome our newest sponsor, Miss Jessica Andrews. I know her fairly well. She is a realtor, a very good realtor, man. Jessica Andrews with EXP in Auburn. If you're looking for a home in Auburn, Opelika area in Lee County, she is the one to call. I know she works really hard, very personal with her clients. She answers every text, answers every call. I know so because she was doing it while I was fly fishing in Alaska. She went over there to the bank and was closing a deal in Alaska. So if you're looking for a home in or around Auburn, Opelika area, give Jessica Andrews a call, 334-704-4442. Maybe that'll give me an extra hug tonight. Hey, let's get to a question. There's that. Throw one at us. Oh, Tyler, she is one of my favorite posters.
Hands down.
Oh, Miss Justice. Is there anything that TJ can do in the weight room to become a more mobile quarterback? Cole, I'm gonna throw this one at you. You got a little coaching background, or is it a deal where you either got it or you don't? I'll throw my amateur opinion. I think you either got it or you don't.
Yeah, you either got it or you don't. I mean, you can make some adjustments to become more mobile. You work on your feet every day at practice, but he has dropped a little bit of weight. I think he was maybe teetering close to 250, 255 at one point, and now he's 240. Does that help a little bit? Maybe not. It's not going to be a drastic change. You're not going to see just all of a sudden he's extremely mobile, but he can improve that a little bit, especially in the pocket, because that's where he needs more mobility to excel, I think.
And I'll follow up with this, Cole. TJ's not unathletic. I don't know if anybody saw the clips of him playing basketball this past summer, where it was the basketball players, the football team versus the basketball walk-ons. I mean, some of what he was able to do. TJ is more athletic than you give him credit for. He's never going to be confused with Nick Marshall by any means.
Right.
But for a pocket passer, I think where he does provide some mobility is being able to move forward in the pocket and kind of step up through the rush and then be able to kind of move some in the open field once he gets going. I don't think he's ever going to be the guy that's going to be, probably more comparable to, I'd say, a more athletic Ben Leard is how I would phrase it.
Ben will tell you he was the most unathletic quarterback in Auburn history.
And I would say TJ is a more athletic version of Ben Leard.
Zach, you coming in here hot, big dog? You got something for us?
Our first caller here. 615, you're live. Who we talking to? Where are you calling from?
Hey, this is Lord George from Nashville.
LG, what's up, big dog?
George.
How y'all doing?
Good, brother. How about you?
Good, man. I was wondering if we could revisit the estimates and predictions for number of commits that you guys made earlier in the summer, and by the time the season was rolling around, and there were some dips. People were getting sort of emotional about where we were at, and then now we've got 8?
Yes.
Right before season starts. So just wondering how you guys think where we're at.
Well, if I'm not mistaken, I'm sorry, Lord George. Hey, we appreciate your call, Lord George. Appreciate you on the corner as well, Auburn Live.
Absolutely.
Legendary poster, in my opinion. But I will say this: if I'm not mistaken, Jhead, you correct me if I'm wrong. Cole and I had it at 6 to 8. You had us at 8 to 10. We all win.
Correct. Yeah.
I mean,
as far as preseason prediction goes from our team, we're money. We put.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Right.
As far as where we are currently as a class, I think the staff would obviously like to have more. I think they're very satisfied with the quality of the prospect that they've got in the class, but obviously they want to continue to add prospects as best they can.
Yeah, which on that note, by the way, I see them maybe some guys that they may have waited a little bit on earlier in the recruiting cycle, like maybe Ian Jaffrard, who they probably could have pushed for at one point and gotten. I think they might start pushing a little bit more at this point on a couple of guys. Like Tyler Scott comes to mind, who I went to see today. Guys like that. And with that happening, it's hard to count, but 8 to 9, I mean, you could almost say 9. Well, we got less than a week before the season, but 8, yeah. I mean, we were all kind of there, right?
Yep.
Oh, we were right on it. And I will say this, LG, I think multiple commitments are coming in the coming weeks.
Yeah.
I think there's already a couple of guys who have made up their mind. They're just waiting to announce it. I wrote about this last week in the War Room. We'll start hearing it. It'll start trickling out here soon, but I do feel like Tyler Scott is one who hasn't committed as far as I know. Man, you got to think Auburn's in a good spot with him. Colton Hood, man, you got to think Auburn's in a really good spot with him. Janoris Wilson, as already publicly stated, Auburn's a big leader for me. I'm coming in for the Penn State game. I guarantee you Auburn is not going to waste any time with him. They're going to push. They want that kid in the boat now. Derek Hunter is coming in for the Penn State game. That's 4 guys right there.
Don't forget the kid coming in for San Jose State, Jamarian Harkless.
Jamarian Harkless is coming in. Adam Hopkins is going to be coming in. I would not be surprised if this class, if everyone stays committed, that's committed right now, which I think they will, by the middle of the season, this class will be doubled.
I think it could be for sure.
I could get on board with that.
Alex Sanford coming in.
Alex Sanford.
Yeah,
absolutely.
I went to see Marcellus Pulliam today, who says he really feels wanted by Auburn too. So,
yeah, Pulliam. It's going to get good. I think it's about to pick up some steam. Like I said, mid-season, I wouldn't be surprised if Auburn's not 15, 16 commitments. Zach, what you got, big dog?
Another caller here.
We'll get to you, JP. Hold on.
334, you're live. Who we talking to? Where are you calling from?
Matt from Auburn.
Oh,
What's up,
man.
Matt?
I was here. I was here actually not too long ago. It was the
Is
bad.
that you driving by my house?
that way.
What you got on
I'm
your
sorry,
night
Matt.
tonight, Matt?
Can y'all hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, I was making sure. So my question for y'all is: I know predictions have probably already been made, but what do y'all think is going to be the toughest teams for the season?
The toughest teams?
On the schedule?
Yes, I mean outside of Alabama, which we all know that's going to be one of our toughest teams.
At one time, I would not have said the Penn State game. I'm leaning more toward that being a tough game right now, just because, to be honest, because I don't know how TJ Finley's gonna handle that yet as a starting quarterback. That's just me being honest on that.
I can see Penn State. I would say, look, I don't like where Ole Miss falls on the schedule directly after Georgia. I think Georgia's going to be an emotionally charged game. And then you got to go to Oxford the week directly after being on the road at Athens, and that's right before the bye week. I think that's going to be a really tough game from an emotional standpoint to get up for if you're Auburn. Obviously, Georgia's going to be difficult. And then –
you know what? I'm going to throw in. This is kind of a dark horse, but Missouri is going to fall right after. Missouri is going to fall right after Penn State and right before LSU, if I'm not mistaken. Right?
Yes.
Yeah.
That to me, and Eli, he can be dangerous. So that's you're right after Penn State and right before LSU is the trap game, as some folks used to call it back in my day.
Well, and Eli and Harsin know each other. It's not like there's going to be any secret there about what Harsin is trying to do on offense. Eli's going to know, just like Harsin is going to know what Eli's trying to do. But I'm with you, Jay Lee. That's a massive trap game because of the feeling about Penn State and how badly the players want that game. I mean, they want it after what happened last year, and then they know what they got coming to town in LSU, and that's a statement game. Can you play competent football the next week and not find yourself turning the ball over, getting sloppy? Can you do the things you need to do against, Eli, who's a good football coach?
Absolutely. It's a good staff up there too.
Yeah, very good staff.
I got one more question for y'all too.
Go for it.
Do y'all think that when Texas and Oklahoma, if they do end up coming to ACC, do you think they're going to affect Auburn as well?
Affect them. Capacity.
Yeah.
I said, if Texas and Oklahoma come into SEC, do you think that's going to affect Auburn as well?
I think Jhead was asking, how do you what are you asking? Affect in what capacity?
Do you mean recruiting? Do you mean our place in the SEC?
Divisions.
As a place in the SEC, yeah.
Schedule.
I don't know. I've been thinking about that one here lately and how that's going to work and how the scheduling is going to work and all that. Obviously, it's going to affect Auburn's scheduling a little bit. I'm not sure how. I really don't know how they're going to make it work yet.
It all depends on the model that they choose to go to.
Right.
Right now, I mean, I think it's very clear that we're going to go away from divisions in 2025 once those two teams join. But the question is, are we going to do the 7+1 model, or are we going to do the 6+3 model? You know what I mean? And then are they a permanent opponent for us? Or are they just somebody we see every other year? Because if they're just somebody you see every other year, whatever, man. Texas and Oklahoma don't scare me. Right? I saw what Arkansas did to Texas last year, and they sure as hell didn't do that to us. Excuse my language, guys.
Yeah.
But
it's just another drop in the bucket to what you're already used to as Auburn, right?
There you get right. I mean, listen.
Yeah, I'm going to get even more difficult.
Texas is not going to be any more difficult than Alabama, than A&M, than Georgia, than the teams, the Floridas when they're good, obviously. And I think Billy Napier will get them back on top. Look, it's just another hard team that you've got to play each and every year. But when your schedule every year consists of Georgia and Alabama, whatever, man, just put another one on the fire.
Yeah, right.
Hey, Cole, while we got a minute, will you check your mic and see if it's on? Because you usually have the best audio of us all, and tonight.
Yeah, I don't have my mic. I'm at.
Okay. It's not bad. It's not bad.
Okay.
It's not bad.
Got another caller here. But I do want to say Mississippi State is a team that y'all didn't mention that I'm personally think would be one of our top sleeper game.
Zach, I've been on that one from the very beginning. Their defensive line is nasty, dude. And obviously, I think they've got probably the second best quarterback in the SEC on that team.
I mean, they've kind of given Auburn trouble the last 5 years, I'd say. Yeah.
All of those games, the two Mississippis, the Arkansas, the Missouris, those are the games to me that because you almost expect Auburn to win those games. You do expect Auburn to win those games. Nobody's expecting Auburn to beat Alabama or Georgia or even Texas A&M. Right. But the other games right there, you're expected to win. And when you look over, and all of those teams have upgraded in the past 2 or 3 years. I mean, they're actually games to worry about. Where 2 years ago they weren't.
No,
upgraded coaching staff, upgraded talent. So those games I think are going to be the ones that decide whether you're going 7-5 or 9-3.
Yeah,
for sure. All right, let's see. 205, you're live. Who we talking to? Where are you calling from?
Hey, this is Bo from Moody, War Eagle, fellas.
Big Bo.
Bo from Moody.
How are y'all, man?
Cannot complain.
We're doing fairly well, Bo.
Hey, the running back that committed to, I think it's UCLA.
Yep.
Roderick Robinson.
Yes. Do we have a chance with him?
Believe it or not, yes.
Yeah.
No, listen. Don't get when I say yes, I'm gonna have a hot board out tomorrow, and I think I've got him at like 15%. He's from San Diego, California. He's committed to UCLA, but he loves the idea of playing in the SEC. He loves Cadillac Williams, and he's going to come to the LSU game. I have him penciled in for the LSU game weekend. He wanted to come to the Penn State game, but he's going to go to Texas A&M that weekend for the Miami game. So he's obviously open to looking at other schools. He's got a really good relationship with Cadillac Williams. Now, Bo, I don't expect him to flip. I think getting him on campus is the next step. But certainly a guy to at least follow along with it. I think it's a very long shot. Auburn signs both Jeremiah Cobb and Roderick.
Yeah,
sure.
Robinson.
Any receiver news?
Yeah. Well, the 4-star wide receiver DeQuavius Story committed Friday. Did you catch that, Bo?
Yes, sir.
And there could be some more, man. I know Auburn's still recruiting. Adam Hopkins is a 4-star wide receiver from, I think,
Thomasville,
TCC down in Southwest Georgia. He's another guy to keep an eye on. I think he could visit soon. And I think that's about it. I think Auburn's got Carmelo English. You got DeQuavius Story. I think if you get maybe one more, I think you'll be in, and I think it will be an incredible wide receiver class. I think by the end of September, you're going to look at Auburn's commitment list and go, "Damn, that wide receiver group is stacked."
Well, Jeffrey, I'll give you some props for Jeffrey. Go ahead, Bo.
No, you go ahead, man.
I'll give him some props on talking about DeQuavius Story, giving the staff, I committed actually to them on July 5th, which was like a month or more before he actually came out public with it. He reiterated that to me when I was there at his announcement. So, to
me, that was big.
I think Ike Hilliard kind of works in silent, man. I don't even know if some of his coworkers and other position folks really know who he's talking to and what. That's just kind of how he rolls. That's what I'm learning.
And just in the past 2 weeks leading up to that announcement is when all these other schools started coming up with, "We're full. Oh, we like him at a different position."
Right.
And I'm reading the tea leaves here, but maybe they kind of got the word and they were, "Hey, listen, Auburn does the same thing or they have in the past. Hey, sure. He's not coming here, but hey, we're full, man. We kind of backed off of him." Yeah. I mean, right? I mean, everybody does it. I'm not saying Auburn's above it.
Listen, 100%. We have done that in the past. Other schools, everybody does that. Listen, when you're not landing a recruit, it's easier to spin that PR, baby. You know what I mean?
We backed off. We're kind of full. We got another guy we're higher on.
Yeah.
But for me, it was all the dingleberries came out. Oh, his Final Four was Auburn, Florida, Miami, Alabama. And everybody was saying, oh, it's Auburn by default. None of these other schools have a spot for him or even want him. Well, now you know that they did.
Yeah.
Can you answer me? I'm going to ask y'all 2 more questions. I'm going to let y'all go. Can you tell me why Bama fans talk about our team more than they talk about their team? They always talk about them, talk about us instead of them.
No, Bo, it's one of life's biggest mysteries.
I will say this, though. Jason Caldwell, my friend at 24/7, anytime he goes anywhere at Auburn, like Auburn is in the World Series or Auburn is playing here or Auburn baseball's over there, Auburn, there's always, and he always takes a picture of it. There's always one Bama fan. There's always one Bama fan watching Auburn. Always.
Exactly. Okay, the quarterback from Georgia, Aaron Nolan.
Yeah.
Do we have any chance with him?
Jhead?
Bo,
I think we feel the same.
Yeah, I think it's a very nuanced and tough situation. Yes, I think we're still recruiting him. Right now, I don't know that we're planning on taking 2 quarterbacks in the 2024 class. So I would just ask that you be patient there. Kind of let's see what plays out in the 2023 class. And should things not work out for a quarterback, there's a good chance we could turn and try to take 2 in 2024. As of today, that's not my expectation.
But I will add this, Bo. They're not going to stop recruiting him. They have some really strong relationships with that staff.
That's Terrence Love's teammate, ain't it?
Terrence Love, Bo Hughley, Josh Horton. Yes.
No,
Jelani Thurman.
And you never stop recruiting kids you're high on.
Yes, sir. All right, y'all take it easy, man. And
appreciate you, Bo.
War Eagle.
Appreciate you, big dog.
Appreciate it. Sorry I dipped out on you there.
Nick Saban pulled the plug. Bama comment. He pulled the plug on
I
you.
was just about to give like the best intel you'd ever heard in your life about that, but
Cole's about to throw some scoop down there. Hold on, go back to Zach. We forgot about JP. Any potential OB updates or guys looking to schedule?
Okay.
Yep. Cole shaking his head.
Yeah. Well, it's really not brand new news, I guess, but Colton Hood, who I talked to today, he was already going to the Auburn Penn State game, but he wants to make it an official visit. Right now it's unofficial, but he does want to make it an official visit. And then the same for Tyler Scott. As of right now, that Auburn Penn State game is an unofficial visit, but he wants to make it an official visit. I think probably both of them will be by the time that rolls around. And then I think you updated today, Jeffrey, about DJ Chester might be coming back for a game. Don't know if it's official visit or not. Well, he's already taken his official visit.
Yeah.
I actually talked to him in person today as well, DJ, and he confirmed to me too that he was thinking about coming back for a game. So
awesome kid. JP, you've got Jamarian Harkless coming next weekend for the San Jose State game, and that's the only one right now, but I will probably have doubled that list by this time Friday. I'm expecting another guy to be added to that list. But Penn State, I will say this now, because Tyler Scott's the one who he called me yesterday and like, hey, I just scheduled an official visit to Auburn, and about an hour later he called me back like, hey man, I'm just gonna make an unofficial visit. And I was thinking, well, that's good, because I think Keith said on our show, maybe even last week, that man, all these kids want to come on an unofficial visit for that Penn State weekend. They don't understand that these coaches, they don't have time for that.
No.
On a big game like that, you do not have time for that. And you don't want to piss anybody off. You don't want to, sorry, I don't have time for you, man. I got to go win a football game.
Right.
So I think they're going to keep that number down to under a handful. I know Kai Preen is scheduled to come in that weekend. Janoris Wilson is scheduled to come in that weekend. Wilkie denied, which that's not a big deal. DeQuavius Sori is coming that weekend. So that's about I think they're going to keep it pretty manageable. And when I say manageable, under 5, and that's 2 commitments. So you're looking at 3 guys you really only have to play host to during that weekend. And again, these kids are playing Friday night. You're not getting to Auburn until early Saturday morning. The game's at 2:30. You're basically getting a game day and then a half a day on Sunday to meet with the coaches. So
right.
It's not a big benefit. It's not advantageous for these kids to come in for an official visit during a big game weekend like that. Come for an unofficial visit. Save that OV.
And I think the only one they'll definitely Janoris Wilson, who's already been to campus twice, you bring him in for an OV because you want to go ahead and lock that one in.
Whatever he wants. Absolutely.
Yeah, let him come on in. But guys that you need to create an impression on, I'm with you, Jeffrey. You probably want to kick the can on that as best you can, especially if you're in Atlanta.
Situation
2 hours away.
Like Wilson's, like you're saying, that's one of those situations. And then like last year, Keontae Scott coming in from California.
Right.
These are the kind of official visits that are happening during games because really most of your top targets have already, done that. So
right.
Yeah. Hey, if Roger Robinson wanted to come in for Penn State, absolutely.
Yeah. Correct me if I'm wrong, Jeffrey. Was he scheduled for an official visit and then didn't take it? He backed off after he committed.
Yeah.
He was going to officially visit Auburn and didn't do it.
And now he's going to Texas A&M that weekend. But he told me it was either going to be LSU or there was another game. But he was basically saying LSU, that October 1st, that LSU game. Blake R. Oh, Blaker. How soon do you gentlemen believe Janoris Wilson potentially pulls the trigger and commits? Well, Jhead, and I think we all agree he's coming in September the 16th through the 18th.
Mm-hmm.
I honestly think Auburn coaches will know one way or the other before he leaves. He might get home and go, "Hey, I'm going to announce October 12th or something."
Yeah.
So, but so publicly, no telling. I think he's going to make his decision. I honestly, though, I think he'll go public pretty quickly after that official visit if he decides to commit.
I agree.
Yep.
I agree.
Excuse me.
Thank you.
Freaking JP, man. We're just gonna keep moving the timeline back, the date line back. I already said JP the class will be doubled by the mid-season. I'd say by Thanksgiving.
That would be Thanksgiving. So
I think
Thanksgiving's Iron Bowl.
Yeah, I think 15.
Yeah, late season. You're right.
I think you're probably at 15, and at that point you're being judicious with spots because you're like, what I mean? If you're where we think you can be in the season, okay, well, now we're still in the game with James Smith and Quay Rousseau and a handful of others. So we're not going to take potential spots away from guys like that. I mean, you only have there's a finite number that you can take, right? I mean, you can only take as many as you have spots for. And this isn't the kind of staff that's into processing kids and everything else. So, when you get to about 15, they're going to start to be like, okay, let's make sure that we get this guy on board, You're not going to just be constantly just like, yeah, whoever wants in, whatever. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
Except maybe an offensive line. I think there's
there's some flexibility there.
Yeah.
Offensive line and edge. I mean,
yeah. There's about 5 to 6 guys at each of those positions that were whenever you're ready.
Yeah, I agree with that.
And for the
we'll take any and all of you.
Yes,
we are. The three of us are bragging about getting that 8 number right before the season. Like we all kind of hit right there at that 8 number for commitments. And the reason we're happy about that is because it's really hard to figure that out. It's not easy to hit that number when people ask those questions because, like DeQuavius Sorey, you didn't know that was going to happen, 2 weeks prior to it happening, and that's just how it goes. These things come out of nowhere sometimes, and if we hit that number, we did pretty good. What I mean?
So you take that in consideration when you start making your projection. That's because I'm telling you, DeQuavius Sorey. I was at the lake the Saturday before, and I got the text message, and I thought, "You got to be crazy. Are you serious?"
Yeah,
right.
Like that was out of the blue. We held it for a while, but that was very surprising.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, T-Mac, can we get a Mercer breakdown? Hell, Mercer put it on somebody last week, didn't it?
I'll have a breakdown on that on
Morehead State.
Yeah, which is not they're usually pretty good in their division.
I will say that the line is a lot more than I thought.
What's the line at?
31.5. Over and under a 54. So they're thinking a 41 to 10 type game for Auburn.
I can see that. And the only reason why is I think, and Zach's probably, he's our FCS guy. He's probably best to answer this question. But what I saw is that Mercer, I think their defensive line is coming in around 260, 265-ish.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Obviously, they're going to be, they're going to have some undersized guys. They're going to play with quickness, play with some speed. A team like Georgia State gave us some issues doing that last year. I think this is a much more cohesive team. I think they'll be dialed in, ready to go. And I think Coach Harson's going to want to make an impression in this first game. I think with as much heat as he has had from February on, he wants to come out and absolutely make it a no-doubt blowout and create some positive momentum for Auburn, not only in recruiting, but obviously within the fan base, the community, everything else. We want people to feel positive about Auburn.
Build some confidence with your first year starters. Probably want to get Tank in there and get him the hell out of there. Let Jarquez handle that load. Let Damari get him some carries, Sean, and use that as that fifth scrimmage that you didn't get to have in the fall. I mean,
that's
assuming that. Yeah, right. Ideally,
right. And see if TJ can create some
confidence and
some
chemistry
and some explosive plays in the passing game that we didn't see last year. I mean, it felt like everything was manufactured last year we were working so hard just to get first downs. You didn't get those big chunk plays down the field.
Yeah.
For this team to be successful, they're going to have to get 2 or 3 chunk plays a game where they get like a breakout. You know what I mean? When you're having to manufacture yardage where you're just constantly dink and dunk and get a first down here, get a first down and grinding out clock, it's really hard to be efficient like that. Really hard to score a lot of points that way. So can we generate some explosive plays in the passing game and in the run game for that matter? You know, that's what's important to see against Mercer.
Get Tate Johnson comfortable.
Yes, that's huge.
Bobby Lane, does Terrence Love stick with his Auburn commitment? I don't see any reason why not. Anybody disagree?
No, I don't. I mean, he was the different one in the first place, you know, of the pack, and even not just the Langston Hughes guys, just of everyone at that time. I mean, it seemed like you're crazy if you commit to Auburn with everything going on. That's what it seemed like at the time. And
he was the first one after the coup, was he not?
Yeah, April. He was April, early April.
Yeah, and hadn't Wood since Braden Joyner on January the 1st.
Yeah,
yeah, which that was, you know, he was before the whole thing. So Terrence Love jumped on board, and you were like, oh, so Auburn can still get commitments during this. You know?
Now, I'll say this, and I've heard this, and then I've heard it also echoed, you know what I mean, for other people that cover Auburn football recruiting. We need to continue to recruit Terrence Love like he's uncommitted. We don't need to lighten up there because Miami and South Carolina have definitely prioritized him as far as that's concerned. So it's not like there aren't other teams that are interested in Terrence Love. And to the best of my understanding, he's lost a considerable amount of weight, where he's down to closer to 205 pounds or so now, moving and running much better. Had a really big game last Friday night, and I think Keith posted the stats and the clips from that. So doesn't look so much like, I mean, he got up to like 220 at one point.
He was linebacker size.
Now he's much more safety size, and you see him being able to be that boundary safety, a guy that can come down in the box and really thump, but also has the versatility to cover in the back end. So we definitely want to keep him in the class. He's a great player, that's for sure.
And he's playing wide receiver. So that'll tell you. That's what you got.
Got a caller here. 251. You're live. Where are you calling from? Who's on the line?
Hey, it's Jhead.
Oh, Jhead.
Jhead from Mobile.
Jhead.
What's up, buddy?
I'm a little late to the party. Have you already talked about Ashford?
No. What you got on Robbie?
All right, so it seems like I read Cole's piece today. It was good, and what are we thinking of? Red zone short yardage usage?
Look, I thought about you, Jeffrey, when I was writing that, and you know, with the latest of everything going on. I mean, there's just no way to rule out that he might actually.
It's gonna happen. It's gonna. I'm reading the tea leaves. I heard what Brian Harsin said. Yeah, I've read what Justin Hoganson has written.
Yes,
I'm expecting it. I'm preparing myself.
But in this first game, what I will say is I think that Robbie's going to get a chance to run the real offense. I think the plan is to get in there, get TJ comfortable, get about 3 or 4 drives put together, and then get Robbie in the game and see what he can actually do with meaningful snaps, executing the full offense, not just a condensed package of plays for short yardage or obvious rushing situations, something of that nature. I think they really want to see what he can do when the bullets are live. And You know what I mean? Does that change anything?
Yep.
You know, because when you have a quarterback like him, they can't go live in practice. It's frustrating because you don't know. Would he have really broken that tackle? Would he have really gotten that 25 yards down the field?
Right.
You just don't know. So having an opportunity to see him in a live atmosphere with meaningful reps, I think that's the plan, and give him the full playbook and say, go to it, man. What can you do when the bullets are live?
That's a great point, Jhead, because I think a lot of it bases on the chance that he might play a role or whatever, bases on he's still a mystery to us. I mean, we see that he's very athletic. We got to see what he does. I mean, in the live reps, like you're saying, it's got to be on tape. You know what I mean?
I agree, Cole.
And let me full disclosure. We talked about this, and the only reason I'm so down on the 2 quarterback system is because at Auburn it just never seems to have worked, and that's so. We'll move on without talking about who. But I mean, even going back to what was it, Tim Tebow and Chris Leak? I mean,
yes. Look at you.
That's some Keith Niebuhr, Florida history rubbing off on me there.
Yeah, right.
I'm telling you, that was before Urban the Crier Meyer was, making moves in bars down in Jacksonville and whatnot.
Byron Vick. What's up, Byron? With 15, 16 commits, where would that put us in the rankings?
Who it is.
I have no idea. I would guess top 20 because I don't know. I really don't know who if are the schools in front of Auburn going to get guys too.
Right. Too many variables there, Jay Lee, for you to say hey, exactly where we're going to be. As you pick up a commitment, we can project out better, but it's just really hard to make a massive jump from 8 to 15 and say, hey, this is where we're going to be.
Well, you could say this. Let's just say that they keep on going with the average star rating they're going with right now. It's going to be tough to do. Sure. But if they do, you could say they're definitely top 20, top 15 at that point, if they're still going with that,
And historically, any Auburn class that's not a crap, just a big load of crap, it's going to be top 20 at the league. I mean, at the worst, right? I mean,
at a minimum, we're top 20.
Well, that's something to track, though, man. That's something we'll be keeping an eye on because a lot of people enjoy that stuff, and it's kind of gives you a gauge on where you stand with the rest of the SEC. Because you fall anywhere below that 20 line, and you're going to be struggling.
Yep.
Well, not as much as it used to be, right? Because you got the portal now.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
And until portal rankings are factored into what your overall class composite score is, it's hard to say, you know what I mean, how much talent did you actually bring in?
Right.
I think we got the same caller coming back.
Oh, Jhead?
Caller, you're live.
I'm back.
Yeah, he's back.
It's Jhead. I'm back. I was going to follow that up with a question, if you don't mind. How about this? I'm looking at the stats from last year. Hunter had 3 rushing touchdowns. Nix had 4. Do y'all think Robbie Ashford has more rushing touchdowns than Jarquez Hunter this year?
I'm going to recuse myself.
No.
It's not a bad question. It's my initial reaction is no. No, he doesn't. I think Hunter does have more, but it could be close. I mean, if he's a goal line guy, if he's he's not a small guy, he's 215 or whatever he is, 6'3", 212, something like that. He could be used near the goal line because he is a passing threat too. It's not like throwing Kerryon Johnson or Boobie Whitlow out there. It's a little different.
Yeah.
We think.
I got you. All right, guys. I appreciate it. I'm gonna hang up and listen now.
Appreciate you, Jhead.
No, I think Jarquez is going to have about 5 touchdowns this year. I think Robbie will be less than that. I think he'll be used in short yardage situations, but I don't know that he's always going to be keeping the football either. I think it's a situation where you can mix in some zone read.
Yeah.
Or there's a pass play off of that or something of that nature. It's not always going to be a situation where he's like, Cam Newton and basically trying to jump over the line of scrimmage or, basically big boy somebody, right. in the hole.
Hey, JP wants to know, he wants to know how we feel about some of the targets higher up in the rankings, like Hawkins, Spain, Rousseau Smith. JP, I'm gonna divert you to the hot board which will be out tomorrow.
Hey.
And we'll have all of that in there. So a little tease there for you, JP.
Nice.
A little tease. Look for the hot board. It's going to come out in the morning. Offense will be up, and then the defense will follow shortly thereafter. And we will have all. I've been doing a lot of work on this, man. I'm really trying to separate who Auburn's really targeting right now, than just adding everybody in there that Auburn's offered and the realistic shots there. So I feel like our subscribers will have a pretty good read, a pretty good gauge on where Auburn stands going into the season and who their top targets are. And I will say this, it's more along the lines of who than where tomorrow.
There you go.
The where as far as the percentages goes, are going to fluctuate. But tomorrow is going to be more about the who. And so look for that. Excuse me. Look for that, JP. I know you're a loyal follower of Auburn Live on 3. Wes, is the Penn State game the most important game of the season in terms of recruiting? Absolutely. Does anybody disagree?
I would agree.
I think LSU may be a little bit more important. Because, and I only say that Penn State is going to be massive. Don't get me wrong. I mean, but if Auburn starts off 4-0 and LSU comes to town, the environment in Jordan-Hare is going to be like something you've never seen. I promise you. It is going to be fever pitch chaos in there. Auburn needs to feel good about something. If fans see Brian Harsin has this team on an upward trajectory and we've won those first 4 games, I'm telling you, they're going to turn out in droves for that game.
Yep.
Hey, Brian Harsin, West, would tell you that the Mercer's the most important game. 1-0, baby.
And I believe Brian Harsin actually feels that way.
Hell yeah. If we had him on the show right now, he would say, y'all forgetting Mercer.
Exactly.
Right.
All right, JP's back for more. We love JP, man. Love people who can't get enough Auburn recruiting. If the thought was UGA reaching over Hughley for another tackle, which Georgia just signed or just got a commitment from another 4-star offensive tackle, a top 100 guy, if I'm not mistaken. What was the reason he wanted to look around? Does Freeling, the tackle that just committed to Georgia, help us with Bo at all? I would say it sure doesn't hurt. I'm right there with you, Jhead. I'm right there with you. But I will say, that people that know more about it than I do are not giving up on the skid and believe that there's a shot. I mean, and this right here will not hurt Auburn's odds.
I don't think it really does. So from what I understand the situation, they've telegraphed this with Bo. They wanted 2 tackles in the class. This is their second tackle.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I don't think they have. Yeah. I think this is just their second offensive tackle in the class. So I don't know that it necessarily hurts or helps. Like you said, look, anytime you take another highly rated, decorated offensive lineman in the class, it's not going to hurt Auburn's chances. That's for sure. But I think with the number only being 2 offensive tackle commits for Georgia, I don't know how much it helps, but it certainly doesn't hurt. I'm with you on that in that capacity.
Yeah, I'm in the same boat with it doesn't hurt at all for sure. But I also, just digging around that recruitment lately, I think Georgia really covets Hughley. I really do.
I do too. I think when Bo got back, or maybe not even before Bo got back, Georgia started letting him know how important he was to the class.
Yeah.
Can you give me some water?
And I think if there were any fears that Bo had about not being prioritized, they were answered at that point.
Yeah. He is definitely being prioritized by Georgia. He's being prioritized by Auburn.
Yeah.
Auburn has more of a need than Georgia, especially if now that they have another offensive tackle committed, and Auburn does not when they need multiple. So that's what you got working for you if you're Auburn, definitely. But, Georgia hasn't lost many guys that they covet here lately, and that's where the concern comes in.
Well, or where they say when the prospect says Georgia's where my heart's at. When they have quotes like that, and I'm not trying to – listen, I think that the guys that are recruiting Bo Hughley are doing a fantastic job. I think they are doing exactly what they think they should be doing. And I don't disagree. Look, when you've got an opportunity at a 4-star, blue chip, bona fide guy that can contribute very early, I'm not necessarily saying year one, but a guy that can contribute early, you go after. You know what I mean? You don't take no for an answer until it gets to signing day. That doesn't mean you don't prioritize and recruit other guys, and they're doing that.
Yeah.
And they're going to continue to do that. They're not banking on landing Bo Hughley at this point.
Right.
I don't believe that for a second. But they're not going to give up pursuit either in the off chance that something changes.
Right.
Staying on the subject, Hugh really wants to know how many offensive linemen by December. Hugh, well, I'm going to say by December, the early signing period is getting close. I think Auburn's going to have most, if not all, of their offensive linemen, or at least ideally, they would like to have their offensive linemen committed. I've got it at anywhere from 6 to 8 total. I would say they have at least 6.
By early December, I'll go with 5. By signing day, I'll say 6, Jeffrey. I'm with you on that one.
Okay.
I'll go with 5.
Yeah, like Chester might announce on signing day. You might have some guys announcing on signing day.
Right.
Whatever. If y'all going 5, I'll go 6. Y'all going to get me with the price
No.
right.
With that position, I expect it to go into the second signing period where you still have a couple spots. So that's why I'm saying 5. I want more than 5, ideally. And like last year, who was it? Jalen Farmer was still a target after the early signing day. I can't think of it.
I tell you what, the problem with after signing day is everybody wants the ball. God bless America.
Yeah. And to me, it also depends on how many JUCO guys
mid-year guys.
How many JUCO guys do they ID early and get into the boat? I mean, I know we've offered 2, but we're evaluating at least 2 or 3 others at this point.
Yeah.
And so what happens if those prospects get offers? You know what I mean? Do they jump in the boat early? How does that work? You know, that's why I'm going to go with 5. By the time we get to signing day, though, I think 100% by early signing day, they're signing 6 offensive players. I believe that.
Thomas Jones, OTJ, wants to know, what are the chances of flipping Bison Lang into Dakari Nelson? I'm going to let Cole have Dakari because he went and saw him last week. Bison Lang, Thomas, is a long way down the board. I don't see that happening.
Is he committed?
He's not committed either. But, I mean, he's not a flip. But, yeah, he is definitely a little bit further down the board than we thought.
I do not see him making his way up. As of right now, I don't see Bison Lang being an option. Dakari Nelson, Cole, you went and saw him last week.
Here's my thing on him. I think Auburn does like him. I think they do recruit him pretty heavily. I don't know if they are absolutely giving it everything they have at him. I think they're still trying to get back into that one a little bit. But I talked to Dakari in person last week, and he is, he's enamored with Auburn. He's always grown up around Auburn. And he told me that, growing up with family that's Auburn, Alabama fans, he always leaned toward Auburn and that kind of thing, and loved Auburn, and that grew up that way. So I think
Cole, do you think if Auburn made a big push, if they prioritize him, do you feel like he's the guy who they could flip?
In a roundabout way, that's what I was saying, yeah, because he does have that familiarity with Auburn, and Penn State's a good haul for him, even though he does, after getting to know him, his personality does fit well with that school and Coach Franklin, I think. I think he likes Auburn enough that it could happen if they really push. But right now, I don't think that they are just, 100% pushing for him. I think they like him, they're recruiting him, but not 100% going after him. Yeah, that's my thought.
Jhead, are you itching to – what you got over there?
It's hard for me to see where Dakari fits currently with Terrence Love committed because they're so similar of a player.
Yeah, they are.
They're both that boundary safety guy. You really need that field safety in this class. If you're going to take another safety, you need a guy that can be, in that
like Cedric Hawkins?
Yeah.
Like Conrad Hussey?
Exactly.
Yep.
Exactly. That's you're getting exactly where I'm going with that, Jeffrey.
Just your smaller coverage guy.
Exactly.
Right?
You know what I mean? We already have that big bodied come down in the box safety that can also play that can play that boundary side. What we don't have is that safety in a one high set that can basically roam and cover the field. You know what I mean? That can be the quarterback of your defense in the back end. That's more of what I'm looking for is a safety with a different skill set.
And that Jhead is probably exactly why it didn't feel to me like Auburn is just going, with everything they got after Dakari. Even though they do like him, they think he's a good player. They have him pretty high on the board as far as that goes.
Sure.
They have Terrence Love. So, there's no real urgency to try to get this guy on board. They're going to see how it plays out. Maybe they do want those two kind of guys like that. Maybe they do in the end. Right now, they're not sure, I don't think.
Or they have a best available spot, or they think Dakari is going to grow into a linebacker or something of that nature. It all depends on how the season goes and what the needs are as we start to get closer to National Signing Day. That's where some tough determinations, like, guys, you've been keeping warm. You've been in that recruitment. Now it's like, all right, let's push for that OV. Let's get them in here because now we really want them in the class. We know. But I think because of the fact that you already have a guy in the class that does something very similar, that's where I'm not sure, what his role or where he fits just yet.
Right. Which, by the way, I will be going to see Dakari Friday night. So get a good feel of how he plays and maybe talk to him again and see how that's going.
I will say, Tyler Scott, you went and saw him today, right, Cole?
I did.
Man, I tell you what, Auburn loves that kid.
And now let me ask you a question, Cole. Now, did you get this in your reporting at all? I had been told we're recruiting him at corner, or are we recruiting? What did he tell you?
Corner. He told me.
And that's what I thought.
His coach kind of reiterated that with me because I talked to him as well for a while today. He goes, I think the average height for corners in the NFL is maybe 5'10", 5'11".
He's 6'2", legit.
He said, you got a 6'2" guy right here who can cover like a corner. There's no way you don't put him at corner. That's kind of unique.
And you got another 6'2" guy on the other side in Jacorius Hart.
Yeah.
Yes.
And if you look at Tyler Scott's film, from his first game and his second game, I don't know if that's up yet, but dude is physical.
Stud.
Got plenty of speed. I mean,
brother, now listen, you just hit the nail on the head. Did you see that opening highlight where he absolutely blew up that screen and took the receiver that was blocking it and threw him into the other receiver? I mean, threw him.
I asked him about that play today. He's like, yeah, that just because he's really not that. He's kind of a laid back guy.
Humble, very humble guy.
Yeah. But when the lights come on,
he had my attention. I tell you that right now.
Didn't go to any camps. Didn't do anything like that. Probably why in the last week or two since his season started, you've seen a bunch of offers come at him. Mississippi State, UCF, Missouri, Georgia Tech, Auburn,
Vanderbilt.
On that note, without going to camp, he didn't go to any camps. He said he's never been to a big game like Auburn Penn State either. So he said
he's pumped, isn't he?
Oh, he is, dude.
And listen, all this recruiting stuff was really new to him. Like, he was being recruited by Grambling and Tuskegee and Troy, Arkansas State up to this point. Yeah. And here come the big dogs, and he's like, wow.
Yeah,
I'm not even sure he knew what an official visit was. He just knew he was visiting. Like, I'll be there, man. Yeah. I like him, man, and I know he is a highly prioritized guy for Auburn right now at the cornerback position. Love to get him on board.
Yeah.
Cleveland Brown. This is a good question, man. This is a good question for both of you guys. Outside of quarterback, the Auburn depth chart came out. What's today? Tuesday. It came out yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Auburn quarterback 2 deep. That chart came out. Were there any surprises to you guys apart from the quarterback position?
Well, all right. If you say surprise from the beginning of camp, I would say yes. If you said surprise within the last 2 weeks, no, it pretty much went chalk to me. Other than the fact that Zeke Walker got injured, I obviously thought he was going to be in the 2 deep to some degree, but because of injury, he's obviously not competing. But by far the biggest surprise before camp started, because I would not have at all figured this guy would be in the 2 deep at nickel, but Keandre Scott.
Yeah.
The camp that he had, and I can echo what Keith heard, I have been told they think this kid's future is bright. I mean, like first-round talent bright.
Yeah.
I hope he can help get his former teammate.
Oh, yeah. That's that.
Isaiah Jhead.
Wouldn't that be nice? We can use that, man.
I'll give you one position that I was a little bit surprised with.
Was it right guard?
Yeah, well, it's just
left guard for me.
Or was it which one was?
Well, Brandon Council's the starter at left guard, which
that surprised me.
I mean, it's not overly surprising because he's played that position. He started there before for Auburn, but I expected Cam Stutz to get just the nod there instead of just the or, which he's still in the mix.
That's the Cam Stutz with the or is what I was.
Well,
that was the left guard, not right guard.
No, that was right guard.
Okay.
He was Orr with Keandre Jones.
Yeah.
That's surprising. If you'd have put Orr with Brandon Council, I'd have bought that 100%.
Yeah, that was more, yeah, I agree.
Being an Orr with Keandre Jones, and granted, I think Keandre got nicked up early in camp. If I'm being completely honest, I don't know. You know what I mean? Like, I don't think he's like severely injured or anything of that nature, but I think Cam Stutz has really come on. And so if he's playing at a high level and Keandre's maybe a small bit injured, that makes a lot of sense to me. I mean, that I can understand why they've got him paired like that.
Yeah.
But to me, Brandon Council, dude, I'm not trying to dog any kid on this show. I never want to do that, but I was not impressed with his contribution on the offensive line last year. I thought he looked a step slow, and he was injured in his defense. He required another surgery after the season was over. So it's understandable why he didn't play up to his potential last year. But I thought, okay, you got a guy like Cam Stutz that's coming on. You've got a proven starter in Keandre Jones. Those two, to me, make a lot of sense as your two starting offensive guards. But good on Brandon Council for coming through and earning his spot.
Where did he transfer from?
Akron.
Yeah.
Native of North Carolina. Yeah, the Zips.
Was Terry Bowden there?
Yes, sir. Tater
All right.
Tot. He sure was.
Yeah, he was.
Before he went to La Monroe. Well, he got fired, and then he went to La Monroe.
4-5 goated. He's talking about Michael Jordan when he come back, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Why is it? This is a damn good question. Why isn't Landon King on the depth chart? I think the answer is it obvious? Is it simple as saying he's transitioning between?
Yeah, well,
I mean, is there anything? Am I missing something? Because I haven't heard anything.
No, because if they did a 3 I think he would have been in it. But they did a legitimate 2 and I don't think Landon was in the top 6 wide receivers. I think Camden Brown had a fantastic camp and earned his spot as the backup wide receiver.
Yeah, I don't think there's really a reason to put him on when you have 6 receivers that you're showing there on the depth chart because he's a situational guy until he can really learn the ins and outs of running routes and breaking down and doing all those things, the way they want him to as a receiver. And he may never get there. I mean, he's just a bigger guy, and that's going to be difficult to get those things down.
Sure.
He's a situational guy. And that doesn't mean – I mean, he's going to play. He's going to have situations where he's in the game, maybe close to the goal line and, different things like that, a fade pass or a back shoulder throw, something like that every once in a while.
Right. I think where he'll be really utilized is that 4th wide receiver when they get him in the slot on a smaller guy or something of that nature, and they'll be able to use that bigger body. Similar to what they did in the Alabama game where he caught that slant pass at the back end of the end zone.
Yeah.
And he was matched up on 2 smaller guys at that point. And to TJ's credit, he threaded the needle on that play.
That catch is the reason why that question is being asked right now.
100% it is. But there's more to playing wide receiver than one play, one catch. Yeah. And I think, unfortunately, at this point, Landon's a little bit behind some of the other guys. You also brought in a guy like Coy Moore, who's been very impressive this camp. You've had other guys that stepped up that have game experience. So I think he's got his work cut out for him, not to get discouraged, but there's more to playing wide receiver than just catching the football.
Was Worsham on that?
No, he wasn't.
He's already been relegated to scout team, man.
He just – because, Landon King, remember the reason he was moved over to wide receiver back in the spring is because it was awful.
Yeah. I mean,
I remember coming back here and talking about we went and watched practice. It was terrible. I mean, Auburn standards, it was the wide receiver room in the spring was awful.
Yeah.
And they needed help. Definitely.
And so that was a huge need. And I think getting Coy Moore and Camden Brown, 2 new guys who jumped right into your top 6, maybe helped alleviate some of those concerns from the spring.
Very much so. And even the kid from Hewitt Trustful, I'm trying to think of his name, not Daz Worsham, but
Amari Kelly.
Amari Kelly. I think he actually had a pretty good fall camp early on anyway. And then you've also got a guy in Jay Fair who's also playing in the slot that, you know what I mean? It's just a lot of competition at that position. But you're right. When you factor in Landon King converting over, and then you brought in 4 more guys, you know, there's just more depth now than what you had in the spring when, you know, he looked like somebody that could be emerging.
Amari Kelly, Camden Brown, Coy Moore, and Worsham.
Yep. Those are your 4 that you added in addition to Landon King to the room.
And I would not be surprised at all to see Omari Kelly get in at some point, Jay Fair, and I'm not talking garbage time. I mean, these guys can play. I mean, they're smooth. They're smooth route runners, things like that. I just think there might be a place for them at some limited capacity this season.
I agree. I think you're talking about guys that could be potentially in the 2 deep by next year. They just need a little bit more seasoning as far as
exactly.
Matt Slovic. I feel like I pronounced that right.
I think you did.
Okay, cool, man. Matt was never a big fan of Zach Calzada. He didn't like the happy feet and throwing bullets on screen passes, which, well, wait till you see TJ. So on Zach Calzada, do you think all 3 quarterbacks these first 2 games? I don't.
No.
I think
no.
Calzada had his shot, and I think mentally he was not there.
You could say maybe that happened to him in the battle with Haynes King at Texas A&M before the season last year too. Maybe he just, I don't know, he has a lapse in practice or something. But you know, I can't sit here and say that I wasn't. You know, I put out plenty of things in favor of Zach Calzada, showing the good plays he made, things of that nature. So,
right,
you know, I'll take the L on that one.
We all did.
Yeah, bro. Look, yeah, you're not alone. Hey, listen, I had to eat it, and I ate. And look, while we're here, you know what I mean? Let's talk about TJ for just a second and commend him for, you know what, everybody, and me included in this, basically said you don't stand a chance. You know what I mean?
You're vying for number 2.
Yeah, you're vying for number 2, if that. You know what I mean? There was all kinds of criticism that he faced. He overcame all of that, had the best camp of any quarterback to this point, was named the starter. And the questions that he answered at the podium and the way that he answered was extremely impressive. I'm a fan of the young man, you know what I mean? And we'll see how he plays. I honestly am pulling for TJ. I pray that he goes out there and he lights it up this fall. He's a great kid. I would love to see him be successful.
He really is. He really is.
Easy to pull for him. There's no doubt about that.
Yeah, I think that if there's any Auburn fan that's out there that's like, I'm not pulling for Auburn because TJ's the starting quarterback, there's no room for that, guys. Listen, this is Auburn. We pull for Auburn.
That's what Tuscaloosa's for.
There you go. You know what I mean? You want to be mad about who the starting quarterback is, go cheer for the other team.
I'll give you
let's all rally behind Auburn here, and let's rally behind a good kid that hopefully he's made the progress that the staff thinks he's made.
I'll give you a quick observation from last season. Maybe it's, you know, a coaching observation or whatever you want to call it. After he threw that touchdown pass to Shedrick Jackson, you know, to win the Georgia State game. On plays like that, especially when you come off the bench and your emotions are real high, I always, how do you react after that? Do you dance? Do you do something like that? He does this, like he's looking at the sideline going, you know, like giving the one, like, you know, let's get the extra point team out here. Let's go ahead and kick. Like he's already moving to the next phase.
Right.
And to me, that was, he wasn't celebrating doing any of that. His mind was already on the next thing. And that kind of reflects Harsin to me and makes more sense when I think about it. Like that's his kind of guy. Business. And every time I hear TJ Finley talk, that's his personality. Business.
It's not too high, not too low. Just worried about what's in the best interest of the team and what makes us better. You know what I mean? And that, you know, I mean, I guess I deviated into the next question and we answered that.
All right, Zach, we're going to get did we get we'll let Trey Mack get us started with some rapid fire, the lightning rounds. The last call went to Jhead, I believe. The second Jhead call.
There you go.
Well, let's hit some a lightning round here, some rapid fire questions, and then we got a lot going on.
I didn't know that.
Jhead, I gotta ask though, man, what's going on behind you? You got a girl in there running laps. She's been walking by that. Look, she's walking laps around the house.
My guess is that my son is going bananas in there if I have.
Oh.
So she's probably pulling him around now.
Oh, all right. Let's go. Here we go, fellas. Trey Mack. Oh, Seth Williams was cut by the Broncos today. Why can't we develop wide receivers?
That's a Gus problem, man.
You think?
Take it up. Take it up.
Take it up with.
Oh,
Yeah, he's flying around out there.
Yeah. Oh, no doubt.
Yeah.
Downtown Fish River Fairhope, boy, that's down there your neck of the woods, ain't it, Jhead?
Sure is.
What happened to the rich pool of blue chip talent in Baldwin County?
Still there.
And Mobile.
Still there.
It's there. It's a little quiet in this 23 class for Mobile. 2024 looks a little bit more promising and so on.
Yeah. Keep an eye on that 24 class too, man. Auburn's about to hit them hard this week.
Yeah.
I believe
Auburn's going to hit that 2024 class hall. Braden Hall. Curious, who leaked the quarterback info to Chris Lowe? I have no idea.
Listen, I think we could all, you provide conjecture, but nobody here knows.
I'm going to stay on my lane in that one.
There you go.
Let's say Auburn has a 10-win season and beats Bama. Could we potentially fit more than expected? Hell yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Look,
You just increase your odds with every 5-star that you're still in on, and every 4-star you're still in on by at least 30%.
Correct.
Yep, absolutely.
So yes, Braden Hall. JP, do you feel like Pulliam is an unready guy, Cole?
Yes.
Like him.
Yeah.
He's a big mofo too.
He is. I was thinking that today because he was going to practice when I was talking to him. He was dressed out. I was like, golly, I'd hate to meet that guy in the hole. No doubt.
Good one for you, Jhead. Sylvester Smith committed to Tennessee. You feel like he's more of a field safety? Still not that guy.
Yeah, I know there's certain players the people that really like Sly Smith. I'm just not overly high on him at this point. I think he's definitely a guy we can circle back to if we need to, but the skill set to me just doesn't fit what we're looking for.
Oh, Matt Reeves. Oh, hey, how you doing there, Matt? You got kicked your coverage there. Let's say TJ starts all 12 games. What will Auburn's record be if it hits 62%, 2,400 yards, 15-5?
If Tank's also got a lot of yards rushing, then pretty good, I would think.
I would say at least 8 wins.
Yeah.
7 to 8 wins, I would think. 7 to 8.
Just don't. The interceptions to me is going to be the biggest thing, especially with this defense. That have very high expectations for this defense. Philip Coleman, do you guys think Zach transfers at the end of the season if he doesn't work his way up? Yeah.
It all depends on what his options are because he's already used his one-time transfer. So is he willing to go down to an FCS school? Does he graduate?
Justin told me that he's already graduated.
So he would be a grad, right?
Okay, so if he's a grad transfer, then yeah, I think there's a likelihood that he could find his way into the portal for sure if he's not up the depth chart.
And one advantage, people were asking, would he go into the portal midseason, is that once you go into that portal, other colleges can contact you.
Yeah, right.
So whatever he wants to do, man.
Yeah, you know what? During bowl season last year, I saw guys playing in games that were listed in the portal.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Free agency, baby.
Mason Brooks comes to mind from Western Kentucky, ended up going to Ole Miss.
Yeah, who's the wide receiver from Florida that jumped into the portal? We were on him for about 2 seconds.
Shit.
Oh, yeah, Jacob Copeland maybe?
Yeah. That's
oh,
it.
my goodness.
Yeah.
Dodge that one. I remember him out of high school. He was something else now.
Yeah.
He's wild.
Someone whose mom walked away at the table when he chose Florida.
Yeah, sure was.
Yeah, man.
No, I better not say that.
Yeah,
Braden. What's y'all's opinion on Harson's effort on recruiting this year versus last year? Is it night and day difference? Do you see him putting in more effort than Gus and his staff? I don't see him putting in any more effort. Those guys worked hard. All these staffs do. Night and day. The biggest problem with Harsin this year and last year is it's so different because of the extenuating circumstances. Like it's such a different feel. And we talked about this before. We all thought they had this momentum, and then we talked about Terrence Love finally pulling the trigger, and then it was just such a roller coaster spring and summer for Auburn.
And I think the difference for last year is, all right, you had that new coach smell last year, right?
Yeah, right.
And you had that working in your favor that you're building towards the future, but you just didn't have the relationships that you got this year. Well, now this year you've got the relationships and you've got that piece down and you got a lot of kids on campus and you're getting in the right kind of kids. But now you've got, well, is Harsin going to be there? Is he not going to be there? Everything that happened in February, all the other things, the factors that are working against his staff. I feel like these poor guys can't catch a break, man. You know what I mean? Like it literally, it's a bad set of circumstances, but that narrative can change within the first 5 games of the season. Yeah. They dictate how that narrative is going to go, because if you start out 5-0, you're controlling now, or you're taking that back in control and you're saying, we're going to be here. You don't have to worry. Look what we just did.
Is that it? Is that?
There's a good comment on there, Jhead. You might want to check it out.
Oh, is it? On the YouTube page?
Yeah, AJ Oaks. Pretty good.
What does it say? Go ahead. I don't even have it up, man.
I'm laughing it right on.
He's saying that you look like Nate Oates.
Oh, God, man. Come on. Come on now.
Oh, them fighting words.
And then Blake Robinson got you, though. There it is.
Okay. Thank you, Blake Robinson. I appreciate you, brother.
Oh, Blaker. Hey, man, good stuff tonight, fellas. Great show. We appreciate everybody. Want to hit Jessica Andrews up one more time?
Yes.
With EXP Realty. Need a realtor in Auburn, Opelika area. Auburn, Opelika area, Lee County, man. She's fantastic. I know this because I watch her do it every day. Residential, rental properties. She can do it all, man. She's very good. Give her a call, 334-704-4442. Tell her we sent you to her. Tell her we sent you to her. She might even have a free T-shirt for you.
There you go, man.
We'll see.
Nice Auburn Live T-shirt.
Yeah,
T-shirt.
I'm telling
see what you do. Jessica Andrews, 334-704-4442. I feel like I was made for that. That number was made for advertising, wasn't it?
Good.
Hey, we want to thank everybody, because we certainly appreciate Tyler Justice, Lord George, Matt from Auburn, Bo, JP, Blake R, Trey Mack, Bobby Lang, Jhead, Byron Vick, several, Wes R, Hugh Rayleigh, Thomas Jones, Cleveland Brown, 4-5 goated. Matt Slovich, Trey Mack, and Musical Mo. I'm sure I missed a couple there at the end, but thank you, man. We really appreciate everybody listening. Please, if you haven't already, go subscribe to our YouTube channel. We're trying to get that number up, man. I don't know what happens, but I just know that's one of our goals. So go subscribe to our Auburn Live YouTube channel. Hit notifications so you'll get all, because we're putting out content every day on the YouTube page. We've got Monday, Keith and I do the Inside the 20. We got the call-in show on Tuesday. Keith and I do another Inside the 20 on Wednesday. I think we're going to start the modcast on Thursday, and then we've got the Auburn Live recruiting show on Friday. So every day of the week, plus Justin's got player interviews, coaches interviews. We're going to have post-game stuff this Saturday. So go like and subscribe to that channel and get your notifications turned on. Hey, thanks, everybody. We'll keep an eye on that page, because Keith and I will be back in the morning with Inside the 20. We've got hot boards coming out tomorrow. We got some basketball recruiting news coming out. So if you haven't already, join Auburn Live on 3, $1 for a year. I promise you, if you sign up, you'll get your money worth as soon as you log in. If you don't think so, email me. I will Venmo you $1. It's free. Woo! Great show, guys. I appreciate everything y'all do for us, man. For Jhead, for Cole, for Zach there in the back, I'm Jeffrey Leith. Y'all stay out of the left lane. See you.